A warm welcome to everyone. I'm Vinuabe Gunodhan, your moderator for today. Infomate is delighted to host this webinar in collaboration with the Ceylon Council for Business with Britain, Sri Lanka High Commission in the UK. Infomate is one of Sri Lanka's most experienced and successful BPMs with a strong track record in the UK, Nordics, and Australia. Sri Lanka is open for travel and we are open for business. Our goal today is to share some of the amazing stories of trade partnerships between Sri Lanka and the UK and some of the marvelous opportunities that exist. It is my honor to invite Dr. Lakshmini Mendis, Minister Commercial Sri Lanka High Commission in the UK, to deliver the welcome address. Dr. Mendis is a trade expert specializing in multilateral, bilateral, and regional trade agreements. She is also a much respected researcher in food security in the context of multilateral trading systems. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much, Dr. Mendis. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Vinu, and good morning to all who are joining from UK and others. Good afternoon to others participating from Colombo. And also a big thank you to Mr. Perinpanayagam and the CBP as well for extending an invitation to this mission to be part of this webinar. So why Sri Lanka? It's a very timely question. And the short answer would be because of its potential. And this question leads to many answers that depicts many facets and diverse strengths that Sri Lanka is capable of and also able to offer. So IT BPM sector is one such area where Sri Lanka has the potential to grow, discover, and to be explored. Sri Lanka has been attracting international companies and the global brands for over 3 decades, so it's not a new thing for us. And it is understood that during the pandemic, it has unraveled its potential and enhanced the earning power with the demand for diverse solutions and services. So as of 2019, IT BPM industry in Sri Lanka employed over 100,000 workers and generated about $1.5 billion as revenue. But the projected target is $5 billion and revenue by 2025 and creation of 200,000 jobs and 1,000 startups. One may think it's a very ambitious target, but however, SLASCOM is very confident of delivering these targets, seeing the potential, once again, the potential, and most important, having the required knowledge base in the country. Another answer would be Sri Lanka is powered by the talent and the technology, and Sri Lanka has the potential to deliver those solutions. The government of Sri Lanka is keen to transform Sri Lanka into a globally recognized IT BPM destination that provides niche solutions, not only for the merchandise trade, but even for the IT services. Confident with emerging technologies such as AI, 5G, IoT, blockchain, cybersecurity, nanotechnology, robotics and intelligent automation, and even 3D printing, and also transformational IT. So we have seen once again that the pandemic has created the demand for digitalization, and Sri Lanka has the capability to provide the required solutions. Another answer, why Sri Lanka? Sri Lanka is the most sought for its talent. Sri Lanka has the creative, flexible, and highly specialized talent pool to develop solutions. Plenty of people skills, ability to communicate in English, and eager and quick to learn, and also the positive attitude towards work, which attracts investors. Another reason to consider Sri Lanka is the advanced technology infrastructure in the region. Sri Lankan IT BPM industry promotes diversity, inclusiveness, and sustainability in their workplaces. Infomate is one such company that has reached the youth in remote areas, creating opportunities, empowering them, giving them hope and aspirations within a vibrant ecosystem. Reaching outer skills, attracting future talent into its knowledge-based workforce creates positive externalities such as entrepreneurship, enhancing innovation, capability, and competitiveness, and accelerating multi-sector growth, both directly and indirectly, and create jobs to realize significant social and economic benefits. Finally, Sri Lanka is attractive not only for its strategic location, but for the human resources backed up with infrastructure, incentives provided, tax exemptions, different agreements that have and treaties that have been signed to promote investments, and also the quality of life extended for these investors. And there are many success stories of UK investors that have invested in Sri Lanka. In addition to Marks and Spencer, HSBC and London Stock Exchange Group are two. There are many, but two of those. And where Sri Lankan talent is used for more sophisticated operations, such as designing stock exchange platforms, data analysis, and security aspects, and other solutions. Marks and Spencer being another long-standing business partner, we are very thankful to Ms. Dua and excited to hear the experiences that she's about to share today with us. Further, UK is the second largest single export market for Sri Lanka, one of the best destinations for investments and IT, BPM, fintech, financial services are some of the sectors that we are promoting, also through the recently launched Sri Lanka UK Business Chamber of Commerce, where both HSBC and LSE are also involved. In addition, we promote other sectors as well, like manufacturing, tourism, wellness, food and beverages, etc. And we invite companies to engage with the newly formed chamber to explore more opportunities. Finally, a big thank you to Mr. Perinpanayagam and for CBB for extending this invitation, and also for organizing this very timely webinar to create much needed awareness in the UK market. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Lakmini. Thank you so much. We're very grateful to you. It is my privilege and honor to introduce our keynote speaker, Nidhi Dua. She's an experienced head of region with expertise in sourcing and retail industry. She's an expert in the apparel industry and has worked with some of the biggest brand names in the world, including H&M, Gap, French Connection, and Marks and Spencer. She has worked with Sri Lanka for over 2 decades. She's an alumnus of the University of Delhi, National Institute of Fashion Technology, and the London Business School. Nidhi, we are very grateful to you for taking the time. Over to you.
Thank you, Jehan. Thank you very much for this kind introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody from whichever part of the world you're in. It's both my pleasure and honor to be here on this forum and delivering the keynote. So my association with Sri Lanka actually goes back a long way. And it started first as a tourist in early 2000s. And then, of course, I've had the pleasure and opportunity of working with the factory since 2002 through the various organizations that Jehan just mentioned, I work for. So whether it was for pleasure or it was for doing business, Sri Lanka has always been a delightful experience. With its unique heritage and geographical location, Sri Lanka offers both the advantage and the attraction that it makes it a very, very conducive apparel place. I call them the 5 pillars. And Vinu, may I request you to put on my slide, please? So these 5 pillars are a regulatory framework and trade policies, skilled workforce and compliant vendors, quality, innovation and sustainability, and of course, the ports and infrastructure. So I'm going to be elaborating on each of these in detail through the next 15-20 minutes I have with you. It's fine, you can remove this slide. So talking about the trade policies and the regulatory framework. So as most of us know that Sri Lanka has a free trade agreement with UK, and this is on soft fabrics. And this puts Sri Lanka in a very competitive position compared to the other countries that do not have the free trade agreement. There is a clear 12% saving when the goods are imported into UK from Sri Lanka. And with all the cost pressures, we know that this is a very big benefit. Secondly, the government is also doing its best to make the environment more conducive for business and creating the ease of business. Sri Lanka's ranking in ease of doing business has been improving consistently, and it's now ranked at 99th position globally. There is a concessionary corporate tax rate of 22% against a standard rate of 30%, which enables a faster return on investment. So all these things make it cost-wise very, very lucrative to be in Sri Lanka. Now, moving on to the second pillar, which is on ports and infrastructure. And this I feel is very, very important to Sri Lanka. The Colombo seaport is actually the main port in South Asia that can handle larger vessels. It has three big terminals, and the fourth terminal is under construction. And once ready, it's going to add further 25% to the capacity. The port operations work very, very efficiently, speedily. I've had the first-hand experience of experiencing the efficiency of the ports. Like I mentioned, since 2002, I've been working with Sri Lanka, which facilitates on-time vessel arrivals, stuffing, de-stuffing, and the departure in the most cohesive and quick manner. And most of the transshipments actually from Bangladesh and India happen via this port in Colombo. Another good thing is that the sailing time from Colombo to UK is only 17, 18 days. And this, we know, is really, really quick. And it is the fastest compared to the rest of the Asian countries or even the countries in the Far East origin. And this short transit actually makes Sri Lanka a very attractive proposition for quick turnaround, for seeing sales reaction in the stores, and for reacting quickly and shipping the goods quickly again. There are many CFSs, which are, we all know, the container freight stations in the vicinities of these ports. And this gives the advantages to the retailers and to the manufacturers to consolidate the goods and send full container loads. So this not only lends economy of scale, but it is more environment friendly as we have better container utilizations. Apart from the seaport, the airports are equally good, and there are all the main airlines that fly from those airports. Sri Lankan Airways flies directly to UK. So in case there are some goods that need to be sent very quickly to UK, this connection comes in very, very handy. The road infrastructure is growing as well, and it is growing at a steady pace. So there were 4 expressways that were constructed in the last few years, and there are 4 more under construction. So all in all, there is a lot of work happening on improving the infrastructure. The ports are already in good condition, and this also lends a unique advantage to Sri Lanka. And like I mentioned, the transit time is very, very attractive. Moving on to the third pillar that I would like to talk about is around skilled workforce and compliant vendors. Now, Sri Lanka has a highly skilled and a sophisticated workforce, and this is largely attributed to the public education system that provides free education up to the tertiary level. And there have been many studies and many researchers I've come across myself proving that Sri Lankan workforce is adept at comprehending and producing intricate designs and performing well on detailed work processes. Their skills and education also aid them in color management, sewing complex details, quality assurance, etc. And this is one of the reasons that you would see that in most of the factories in Asia, the industrial engineers or people who are actually involved in improving the productivity of the factory are Sri Lankans, and they are really looked as a valuable resource to be able to improve the productivities and efficiencies in the factories. The factories in Sri Lanka are globally renowned and very, very compliant and believe in responsible apparel manufacturing. And both in terms of ethical labor practices and good workplace conditions, the standards are very high in these factories. And the apparel industry is actually known to be completely ethical and guilt-free. And there was once a campaign which has actually become the tagline for Sri Lanka. It's about garment without guilt. And what it really means is that the factories where the goods are being produced in the best of the conditions and looking after the workers who are actually involved in making these products. So moving on to the next pillar that I would like to talk about is quality, which is very, very important. We can have cost, we can have ports, but if we don't have quality, it is really not going to work. The factories here in Sri Lanka are state of the art. They have the latest machinery. They work on effective processes, effective systems. There is a huge emphasis on product engineering and also using work aids to maximize the productivity. Quality is excellent. And in fact, Sri Lanka is known for superior quality of garments that it produces. Be it a formal shirt that has a very, very high stitch count, like 16 stitches per inch, which is considered to be like really premium, or a rugged casual wash product, or a technical product like lingerie, shapewear, which again Sri Lanka is very famous for, or a high performance athleisure, or a simple product like a nightwear or a pajama or a t-shirt. The workers, through their skill and quality, put life in every garment that they make in these factories, which is truly amazing. Moving on to the last pillar, and a very important pillar that I would like to talk about, is around innovation and sustainability. And I'm sure a lot of you know that Sri Lanka is known as the innovation hub for lingerie and athleisure, continually creating performance apparel for specially abled people with special needs, creating different washes, finishes, and different dye methods. So the process of innovation is continually going on, and it never stops. And we see better and better things coming out, like, every day, every week. Sri Lanka is also very aware and conscious about sustainability and is continually moving towards it. So there are many green factories in Sri Lanka. Of course, they've been accredited by different companies. It could be LEED certification or Plan A, or they could be passive houses. But yes, there are many factories who are green, and the new factories are actually being constructed that way from day one. And few companies have already achieved carbon neutrality, and many companies are working towards it, which we know is a very big thing, because all countries are coming up with the goals of achieving carbon neutrality. Like UK said that we will achieve it by 2050. MNS has said that we will achieve it by 2030 in all operations. So it is a very important aspect of the business now. There is also emphasis on using sustainable fibers. It could be the Better Cotton Initiative cotton, which is called BCI cotton. It could be lensing. It could be Eco-Vero, Eco-Liba, viscose, recycled poly, or recycled cottons. So there is a huge emphasis on using all these sustainable fibers that do not have adverse impact on the environment. And also there is an emphasis on using sustainable dye methods, sustainable processes that use less water, use less energy, and zero discharge of effluents into the ground or into the canals. Tea dye, which is 100% sustainable, is something very unique to Sri Lanka. And it is, I would say, exclusive to Sri Lanka to the extent, and is done by using tea waste that comes out, and it is a key ingredient of tea dye. And this dye method is completely sustainable. It's 100% sustainable, and it is gaining a lot of popularity. So this is something very unique. When you think of tea dye, the only country that can come to mind is Sri Lanka. So this really brings me to the end of my presentation. And to summarize, I would say that Sri Lanka is indeed the destination of choice for textiles and apparel. And the 5 reasons that I mentioned, about trade policies and supportive framework, about skilled workforce and compliant vendors, about ports and infrastructure, about quality, and about innovation and sustainability, that really make Sri Lanka the go-to place for manufacturing apparel. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Nidhi, for that wonderful keynote, elaborating on the 5 pillars, speaking well of Sri Lanka and your Sri Lankan experience. Thank you once again. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great privilege to introduce Roshanie J Moraes, the President of Council for Business with Britain. She was a past chair of Sri Lanka Association for Shopping Malls. She's an Executive Vice President of the John Keells Group, with over 30 years of senior management experience in different industries, including real estate, retail, and the airline industry. Thank you once again. Roshanie, over to you.
Thank you, Vino. I'll try to share my screen so that I can maybe speak with the aid of that. Give me 2 seconds to get that done. Okay, so if I can, right. Council for Business with Britain is the bilateral organization that deals with trade between the two countries. So our main job is to promote trade between the two countries and of course, encourage investment into Sri Lanka. And Dr. Lakmini here is one of the people that we work very closely with. We've had excellent support from London. And we've managed to do some work in the last couple of years towards that end. So in terms of services, we bring buyers and sellers together. We bring investors together. We conduct different programs, promotional events in the different industry verticals to promote investment into Sri Lanka, as well as trade between the two countries. As Dr. Lakmini said, they've just formed a chamber in the UK. So that's our counterpart chamber there, and we hope to work closely with them. And as Nidhi said, and also as Dr. Lakmini said, Europe is a big trading partner, and of that also UK is the largest country that deals with us in trade. And of that also apparel takes up. And so appropriate that Nidhi should be talking today and talking about what Sri Lanka means to the apparel industry, because apparel is our #1 export product and more so to the UK. And as you know, and as we discussed a little earlier, the key brands source from Sri Lanka. In terms of trade, we do about $1 billion every year. And the trade balance, of course, is tilted towards in favor of Sri Lanka because we are an export economy, and export economy in terms of when you consider Europe and UK. It's come down slightly due to the pandemic, but however, it's kind of hovered around and seen some consistent growth over the years, and it's in that region. So that you can see here the top 5 goods that we export to the UK. And if you look at what we import from the UK, it was vehicles that we imported mostly from the UK. However, this also changed due to the import restrictions in the last couple of years, but I'm sure we'll get back on track very soon. Some of the investments, UK is a big investment partner in Sri Lanka. We have many UK companies here. Some are centuries old. If I talk about HSBC, if I talk about Unilever, they've been here for more than a century. They're not even considered a foreign company anymore because, you know, their brands are in every household. If you take Unilever, is very much a local entity now. We consider them one of us. And most recently, you did hear Lakmini talk about London Stock Exchange. And that's one of the parties that we have who talk very well of Sri Lanka. They've made Colombo one of their bases and a development center. And that's a big success story that we have. And that's from your industry, IT BPO industry. We also have companies like De La Rue, which is very high-tech, high-precision industries. They are into currency printing and security printing. In fact, we have the CEO of De La Rue visiting us these days. We met with him yesterday, and they are very happy with how Sri Lanka is serving them. They also talk about the talent we have, the trainable talent we have. And I think English language is one thing that we have, which makes it easier for any industry to train our talent. We had, of course, this is not a UK company, but it's a local company, HCL, that came into Sri Lanka about a year ago, and they got so impressed with our talent. They are now increasing their investment here and increasing the number of seats they are placing in Sri Lanka. I would like you to hear from someone else. And not from just us. And if I can play this, you probably know what some of the investors who have been here for a while have to say. And this is what they did for an investor conference last year. So I'm just borrowing this so that I can share this with you.
Workforce here are highly trainable. We need both highly qualified people to run laboratory and nurseries, and Sri Lanka has an abundance of those and has good universities. So we can get the qualified people we need. Workforce here.
Okay, so you get the idea. I had two videos there. And even if you look at tourism, UK is a big contributor behind India and China. Well, basically behind India. UK is a big contributor, and on an average, we've had numbers in the range of 200 to 250,000 arrivals coming in from the UK. But before India started contributing in these large numbers, our mainstay was the European countries, and United Kingdom led that charge. And I see one of our ex-colleagues, Vasanta, in the audience, and he's a veteran in the industry and an expert in the UK market. They are the people who led the charge and developed the market in the UK and right around. But UK has been producing, and we are expecting that to bounce back very soon now that borders are open and people can visit each other. Yeah, so that's what I have. I'll be very happy to take any questions if you have and help in any way. And also you can reach out to the CBB because we are in our role is to put you together with any trading partner here. If you want a partner, if you want an investment partner, if you want somebody to deliver for you, we will be more than happy to help you with that. Thank you very much. Over to you, Vinu.
Thank you very much, Roshanie. Very grateful for you enlightening us how the Council for Business for Britain could facilitate business with the UK and Sri Lanka, and highlighting on the many UK investments who have chosen Sri Lanka as a phenomenal destination of choice for business. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a video for you. So let's have a look at the video.
We are delighted to introduce Infomate Private Limited. With a proud history of 16 years, Infomate today is the most experienced and most successful BPM in the country. Infomate has a wide array of services, including accounting, HR, and a range of back-office services. We are proud of our portfolio of over 100 clients in 4 continents. With glowing references from some of the biggest and most recognized brands in the world, Infomate is backed by Sri Lanka's largest and most respected corporate blue chip, the John Keells Group. One of our clients had this to say: "We have made gains across the board. Infomate is not a basic outsourcing provider. They are constantly looking for the value add and new ways where they can help us lift our finance activities to world's best practice." Our work for our clients is performed on leading systems, including SAP, Oracle, and JD Edwards. Our world-class methodologies include the ACE transition methodology, Lean Six Sigma, and ISO 27001 certified information security practices. Jehan Perinpanayagam, CEO, has served at Infomate since its inception. He serves the industry as Director /Com and Vice Chairman ACCA Sri Lanka.
Brilliant. So my next speaker is none other than Jehan Perinpanayagam, who is the CEO of Infomate. He's passionate on making a difference through business and pioneered Sri Lanka's first ever rural BPM. Thank you, Jehan. Over to you.
Thank you very much indeed, Vinu. It is my privilege to introduce a hidden gem, the IT BPM industry of Sri Lanka. Some of the biggest brand names in the world, including IFS, Cisco, Emirates, Moody's, have their processors and their back office work handled in Sri Lanka. And as Roshanie mentioned, and as Doctor also mentioned, several of these iconic British brands have their back office centers located in Colombo in Sri Lanka. London Stock Exchange, HSBC has 3,000 people, WNS, Pearson's. So they have chosen Sri Lanka as their destination of choice. And the industry and research bodies have consistently ranked Sri Lanka highly. Global Sourcing Association UK ranked Sri Lanka 3 times as destination of the year. Etikani ranks Sri Lanka first in terms of financial attractiveness. And WIPO has ranked Sri Lanka second in South Asia for the innovation. These are some testimonials that we are very proud of. One of the sites where I see the most innovation, also one of the most proactive. Working with Sri Lankan team, they are one of the most receptive teams anywhere in the world. Chris Till, Global Head of Consumer Services. And this is a statement from the New York Times, which I, as an accountant, am very proud of. China has its assembly plants, India, its customer support centers, and what is Sri Lanka's contribution accountants? Thousands of them. And here we have Anne Neidenbach speaking of her experience with London Stock Exchange.
When the LSE went live on the Millennium platform, we were one of the fastest trading systems on the planet. So, I mean, it's really a tribute to the talent that's down in Sri Lanka. I can't say this enough. We certainly have enjoyed the culture down there, think extremely highly of the talent down there, and really sort of embraced being Sri Lanka.
There's a strong telco infrastructure. We're one of the first in the region to implement 5G and 4G before that. And the cost per data is 8th in the world. So it's very affordable. 7 telco operators covering 95% of the island, and it is growing. Very strong healthcare and education infrastructure. And if you look at how Sri Lanka ranks against our neighbors, very favorably. And a strong talent pool. We have 210,000 who qualify for advanced level examinations annually and 65,000 who enter state or non-state universities. Sri Lankans greatly value education, and in terms of accountants, we have 16,000 professionally qualified accountants, many of them UK qualified CIMA and ACCA. And we have 85,000 accounting students in the pipeline. So these are 2019 statistics. It grows at over 12% CAGR. World-class office spaces. So these are some of the custom-built IT BPM parks. And if you look at the plans that the government has, there are 5 new technology parks across Sri Lanka in different parts of the country, which are in construction. And if you look at the cost of grade A office space, it is very affordable. Coming to the BPM industry of Sri Lanka, so the IT industry employs 90,000 people and a good gender mix. And BPM industry currently employs 25,000 people and 49% of them are female. And if you look at the range of services offered from Sri Lanka, finance and accounting, we are justly famous for. But over the recent years, we've expanded our range of services to include healthcare transcription services, contact centers, market research, legal process, HR outsourcing, a range of services, both voice and non-voice. And if you look at the attrition rates, it is one of the lowest in the region, just 14%. A recent PwC report on the BPM industry showed a number of new services. So the expansion of the service portfolio is happening amongst our companies, and that includes supply chain management, claims processing, healthcare data processing, payroll, facilities management. And we are very proud that we champion responsible business. In terms of diversity, 49% of the BPM workforce is female, including in our leadership. We are very proud that SLASCOM, the industry association, for the first time, we have a female chair, Sandra D'Souza. HSBC, their back office center with 3,000 people, is headed by Niluka Fernand. And there are several such shining lights. And we have recently launched an ESG initiative, environmental social governance. And we want to position Sri Lanka as a green IT BPM destination, where we champion sustainability, equal opportunity, and responsible business. This is a snapshot of Infomate's own rural BPM initiative, where we've employed 50 rural youth in different parts of the country, including the war-affected North and down South tsunami-affected Sinigama, to provide sustainable employment. So some of the industry highlights are: it's a niche destination for highly skilled talent, a center of excellence for accounting, experience serving international brands in the UK, Europe, and Australia. Attrition rates are very attractive. And there is focus on value addition, process improvements, and innovation. In terms of natural disasters, we have a very good track record with no work stoppages. It's a very safe destination. And because we are smaller, there's a higher level of individual attention and senior management involvement in the work that we do. Very favorable policy framework and a lot of support from the government, including this industry is zero tax. And there are several more incentives given for the IT BPM industry. And as a result of the pandemic, what has happened is companies around the world have become more comfortable with the idea of work happening remotely. And that could include in different parts of the world. And companies are looking at BCP, business continuity and risk mitigation. And Sri Lanka has a very strong value proposition as a business continuity hot site. So why Sri Lanka? I would say it's a robust, competent niche talent pool, the spirit of innovation, one of the highest literacy rates in the world. Technology infrastructure is very strong, and our experience of serving the world.
Today, technology and digitization is changing the world, providing businesses with a myriad of opportunities previously unavailable. A huge opportunity that technology and the internet can now facilitate is the access to talent globally. Geographical boundaries are no longer a challenge, and the world is in your reach. You truly have access to global talent. You can now have your calls answered in the Philippines, your legal work done in India, and your accounting in Sri Lanka. Why Sri Lanka though? Here's what the Australian says. Some countries have oil, others sit on vast deposits of ore. Now Sri Lanka is striving to capitalize on its own bountiful resource, a mountain of accountants. Indeed, some suggest that accounting is now embedded in the national DNA. Did you know that Sri Lanka has the highest number of UK qualified accountants in the world outside of the UK? that the London Stock Exchange, HSBC, WNS, IFS, and Motorola all have back office centers in Sri Lanka? How about the fact that Sri Lanka's overall infrastructure score is higher than India and the Philippines? Or that Sri Lanka's tertiary education system is ranked among the best in Asia? And in terms of personal security, Sri Lanka is safer than the UK, India, and Philippines with 0 work stoppages. A.T. Kearney concluded that Sri Lanka is a hidden gem for outsourcing. Today, this gem need no longer be hidden. You are in on the secrets.
Thank you very much. It's been an absolute privilege. Thank you.
Brilliant words, Jehan. Thank you very much for showcasing Sri Lanka, the hidden gem for outsourcing, leisure, business, so many more to come. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have the opportunity to take 5 minutes of Q&A. We have Nidhi, Roshanie, Jehan, who will be happy to take any questions. So please bring in your questions to the Q&A box or chat box, and we will be happy to take any questions. So since while you are typing up those questions, I'll break the ice. Nidhi, I'd like to put you on the spot here. You touched on something very important, which is responsible business practices. I wanted to know if you can, tell us what you saw on the role of women in the workforce and equal opportunity when it comes to Sri Lanka.
I would say that in Sri Lanka, it's quite heartening to see that women are actually taking the lead in a lot of things. And if you look at the factory floor, like the supervisors, the technical experts, the production experts are women. And if you look at the offices, women are really heading key positions, their product developers, their CEO. So definitely, I would say in terms of equal opportunities, it's quite ingrained in Sri Lanka. And the companies and the people have done a good job over the past many years to reach that level.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for those insightful words. We have an interesting question from one of our attendees. We have built an AI application that enables online retailers scale their efforts. A large part of clients across Asia are in the apparel sector. What would be the best way to reach out to similar online retailers in the UK? Would the council be able to help us in this regards? I believe, Roshanie, you could shed some light onto this question.
This is about the app, right?
Correct, Roshanie. On how this particular app and how the council can help this particular organization reach potential online retailers.
Yeah, sure. We can put you in touch with the industry if you like, and if they maybe reach out to us, and I'll be more than happy to introduce them to a couple of companies and so that they can take the conversation forward.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Maybe you could share our contacts with them. You could
Certainly.
either contact me directly or you could contact the chamber where we have our secretariat. But please write to me directly and I'll be happy to connect you.
Thank you very much, Roshanie. So audience, you can see that we are very happy to connect you with the UK along with Council for Business with Britain. So anonymous attendee, please send in your details to us and we will connect you with Roshanie and the Council. So there's another interesting question by Hemant Evirusuvia. The ambition to deliver 5 billion by 2025 is great. In getting there, how do we increase the resource pool with necessary skill? Is there a concerted effort in producing the required numbers with relevant skills needed in today's world? What actions are being taken by the government, also by the private sector? This particular question, I believe, Jehan, you can answer on behalf of SLASCOM as well as on the BPM perspective. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hemant. I think that's a very pertinent question. So currently the workforce includes 100,000 people or 115,000 people, and the goal is to increase it to 200,000 by 2025. So SLASCOM has a capacity forum, which is one of the most active forums with a lot of volunteers working with universities, giving our content, giving our syllabus, and also looking at converting arts graduates into the IT BPM industry. There are boot camps so that they can quickly adopt and fit in to the IT BPM industry. Then we even go to the extent of starting for kids. There is a Kids Can Code Club. There is another initiative called Tech Kids. So there are multiple initiatives for different age groups and at different levels to bring people into the industry and really make this industry the destination of choice or the career of choice for many. We're working very closely with government, state and non-state universities. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Jehan. Sri Lanka does indeed have a very good, rich talent pool, not only accountants, but when it comes to software and other industries as well. We have another question. It goes as this: as per my email earlier, do the clothing industry have a relationship with Cotton Connect or growing organic cotton? Nidhi, would you like to speak on this? I'll repeat the question. Do the clothing industry have a relationship with Cotton Connect or growing organic cotton?
I would say that it is an approach that individual brands are taking. So some brands are taking that approach of connecting with Cotton Connect and using their platforms, whereas other brands are taking some other approach. So to answer the question, it is not an approach that is unanimously being adopted at the moment throughout the clothing industry, but it is a very specific call that is taken by a particular brand. And then once they take the call, then all their supply chain follows that platform.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Nidhi. So we have a lot of questions coming in, so I'll just pick a couple of more as we are very conscious about time. There's a question coming in, can CBB share the contact details? Roshanie, I believe you have already done that. Joe has a question: are the technology parks going to be linked to higher education institutions and encouraging seedbed businesses? Jehan, would you like to shed some light?
Yes. So when they are looking at these technology parks, they're looking at the whole ecosystem of universities, of good facilities, of connectivity, of all of these components as a composite to make sure it is sustainable. And there are initiatives at the highest levels in government to reach out to some big brand names such as Google and invite them to set up in Sri Lanka research laboratories and the like. We are getting a lot of interest from some very big brand names. So it's exciting times for the IT BPM industry.
Thanks, Jehan. We have a question from Quresh. What support is available for Sri Lankan businesses who want to export or establish offices in UK? Roshanie, would you like to assist Quresh in this particular regards?
Yeah, so we can do that too. It becomes even easier now because we have formed a UK Sri Lanka chamber in the UK. And Dr. Lakmini and the High Commissioner were instrumental in doing that. They just launched it officially last week. So we'll be more than happy to connect you with them so that you can pursue your ambition of setting up in the UK. Of course, we'll help you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Roshanie. So many familiar faces joining from Australia, UK, Singapore, and many other countries as well. We have Nitushan asking, hi, Roshanie, how do I join the Sri Lanka Business Council here in UK? I believe he wants to join CBB.
You could contact me on the contact I just posted on the chat, and I will direct you. You want to join CBB here or the UK chamber in the UK?
In the UK.
In the UK. Okay. So I will connect you with them. If you maybe send me an email either to me or Secretariat, I will just share my email address also here and we'll be happy to connect you.
Thank you, Roshanie. We have a question from Anusha. Also, Nidhi mentions recycling materials. Where are the recycling hubs? Are they in Sri Lanka or do they arrive in such forms from overseas?
They are very, very close to the textile mills. There are some in Sri Lanka as well. But then, you know, wherever, like there are a lot of recycling hubs in India because that is where a majority of the fabric production is happening. There are recycling hubs in China. So these recycling hubs are actually closer to where the fabric manufacturing is happening. Or like, you know, there are recycled threads, there are recycled trims. So they are actually quite close to where the production of those materials are happening. So there are some in Sri Lanka to answer question, but majority of them are in India, China, and those parts of the world.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Nidhi. That was very insightful. We're living in a world there's a lot of pollution in the ocean, in our rivers. It's very much important to recycle and whatever reduce sort of when it comes to plastic waste, I would say. And there are a lot of good initiatives going where leading manufacturers are using plastic to embed and to manufacture clothing, including shoes as well. Perfect, brilliant to that. So we have a question from Dhananjay. Are any British industries or universities considering doing collaborative research in Sri Lanka? If so, any ideas in which sectors or technology there are emerging opportunities for budding young scientists from Sri Lanka? That's a brilliant question. Jehan, Roshanie, would you like to take the question?
Roshanie, please go ahead.
No expert in that field, but definitely I'm sure there are opportunities, and I'll quote an example here. Oxford University collaborates with our Sri Jayawardhanapura University, and Professor Neil was instrumental she worked together with the team in Oxford in the development of the vaccine. A little known fact, but they collaborated between the two universities. So like that, there will be a lot of opportunities. Again, if you like us to connect you with the academia, we can do that too. Please reach out. We would be more than happy to get you connected to the university.
Thank you, Roshani. So kind of you. I don't want to keep Hemant hanging here. He has sent in a question sometime back. I know Infomate had an initiative to take BPO to provinces. It looked like a promising initiative a few years ago. How do you progress on that in recent years? Jehan, would you like to speak on rural BPO?
Absolutely. It was a case study in the industry, and I just recently launched a paper on that. We first started in the agricultural village of Mahavilachi and then expanded it to 2 other regions in Sri Lanka, in Sinigama and in Jaffna. And we have sustained it over 12 plus years. So it shows that it is a sustainable initiative. In terms of growing it, we have over the last few weeks, for the first time, where we had some work coming to us from internationally, and where we discussed with the client, and where the client was agreeable to have part of the work handled in a center. So they were very keen not only to send the work over and have it professionally managed, but they were also keen to make a social impact sourcing it is called. So we see that is a first time that has happened, and we see great potential for that. And that would be my recommendation to the UK companies that are here, because not only can you help yourself, it's a win-win. Where you get your work done with access to talent and perhaps lower cost, but you also make a social impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Jehan. That was very insightful, rural BPO, ladies and gentlemen. Before we wrap up, we have one more question. I would like to put Dr. Lakmini on the spotlight. What support could the High Commission extend to British businesses interested in Sri Lanka? Dr. Lakmini, you're on mute.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for putting me on the spot. However, yeah, so basically, but from this end, there are different aspects that we have been looking into. Basically, the market access in the UK. So we have to be very clear with that. And we are working towards that. At the moment, Sri Lanka is gaining from the enhanced framework, that is something somewhat similar to the UPSP plus. In 2022, another developing scheme will be introduced. But policy-wise, market access has to be sort of very clear. And for the UK businesses, we are creating awareness. We are projecting Sri Lanka as a hub for IT and for logistics, marine offshore engineering, likewise new areas, and also knowing that sometimes our supply volume cannot be met. Therefore, we are protecting Sri Lanka as a place where we can provide for niche markets, luxury sector, and so on. So different products and value-added products. So therefore, for the UK businesses, how we are tying up is the Chamber was one initiative to combine and to assist. and also collect our inquiries about how to start a business in UK and to register, and also how to be part of the Sri Lanka UK Business Chamber. At was, we are very happy to have. It's presided over by HSBC. And so that is one way through the chamber. And for them, yes, we talk about the policies and we talk about how it is an investor-friendly country, destination. And not only for these mercantile goods, but also for services like IT BPM and other services. So, and we have a lot to offer. So creating awareness and also helping them out and also connecting them with BOI and could be the stock exchange, likewise other organizations and ministries also. So we are facilitating them both ways and also finding them suppliers. B2B meetings, organizing B2B meetings, and even this pharmaceutical. We have been doing a lot with pharmaceutical. And there was one question with regard to the research. Yes, we are handling one interested pharmaceutical company here wanting to do research with Sri Lanka, in addition to what Roshanie mentioned with the Oxford University and the Sri Lanka. Likewise, there are interesting areas people are exploring, and they have come across that Sri Lanka is a very attractive place for known things. In them, as Jehan rightly mentioned, that lot can be offered. So we are here to promote and to get the business going and also to get investment going and also encourage them to visit Sri Lanka because we badly need tourism and Sri Lanka is ready for tourism. So all these are connected: trade, investment, tourism, cricket, whatnot. So everything is connected. So we look at it as a package and we promote it together. I hope I answered.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lakmini. You just uncovered all the facets in Sri Lanka, the hidden gem. So ladies and gentlemen, it's sun is setting, as you can see on Roshanie's camera as well. Before we wrap up, I would like to invite Jehan for the thank you note. Thank you, Jehan. Over to you.
Thank you, Bino. Our grateful thanks to you all for being a part of this webinar. I hope you will take back some useful learnings on Sri Lanka. Our grateful thanks to the High Commission and Dr. Lakmini for gracing the occasion. Thank you very much. Nidhi, we are so thankful to you for sharing your experience and very valuable insights and for being such an advocate and an ambassador for Sri Lanka. Roshanie and the Council for Business with Britain, thank you so much for your partnership and for all that you are doing to promote business ties. Thank you to our audience. We are so grateful to you for your time and for your partnership. We are honored to host you and look forward to building many more partnerships and welcoming you to Sri Lanka in the near future. Thank you very much indeed.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time, your questions. And we welcome you to Sri Lanka, a country which is full of smiling faces, talent, business opportunities, leisure, and beautiful golden beaches. That brings up to a close. Thank you very much, panelists and audience. You've been awesome. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful morning. Take care.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very grateful indeed. Thank you.